All right, now the next question. Do you need to handle every single possible error that could ever occur anywhere in your code?
Absolutely.
No. What I would suggest is be practical about it. You can also write that generic error handler.
Yeah.
The one that says if something else happens, the try except. Then you can say if an except happens but I didn't think of, here's how I want to handle it.
Yep.
I'll be honest with you, once you get further into code and you write more complicated, you will discover that the time it takes you to write the error handling for your code may be longer than the time it takes you to write the code.
Yep.
We often talk about 80-20 rules in a lot of scenarios.
Yeah.
There are times when writing the code that works for that happy path takes 20% of the time, and writing all the error handling code for every possible error handle situation of user enters the wrong format, user enters a 0, user enters a negative number. It takes 80% of the time.
Yeah, the way that I always approach it, what errors should I handle, is it's the ones that are important, that absolutely have that generic, and if you're going to do something different because of the fact that the file wasn't there, or because of the fact that somebody gave you the number 0, then go ahead and focus on those parts. But if you're not going to do anything different, so if you give me a 0 and I'm just going to print a basic message, sorry, something went wrong. And if I can't find the file and I'm just going to print out a basic message, sorry, something went wrong. And if you gave me a bad string and I'm just going to, there's no reason in the world to keep writing all those different error handlers. Just put together that one generic one and be done with it. So there is no need to write special error handlers for every possible error.
No, you don't have to handle everyone specifically.
Yeah.
So it is okay to be a little generic in your error handling. In fact, I used to have a function that I called when an error occurred to look at the error that occurred, and based on that would display the appropriate message. So I had a function called error handler that accepted sys.exe_info as a parameter, looked at the value and said, oh, if it's that error, do this, if it's that error, do this, that error, do this, and I just called the function.
Yep, there you go.
Now, how much error handling you also do does also depend on how the code's going to be used. If you are writing a system that's going to do air traffic control, I really, really, really hope you've got excellent error handling and you're handling everything, because I'm on an airplane on Saturday. If you're writing a fun little app that's going to tweet you when your plant needs water, I'll be honest, I'm not going to do a whole lot of error handling in that code, because, oh, what's the worst case scenario? Oh, the tweet doesn't go and my plant, worst case scenario, my plant dies. Little different worst case scenario if my air traffic control system crashes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, got to be a little, so there is a bit of return on investment there. How much time to spend on it? How much does it, what will actually be the worst case scenario if your code crashes?
Exactly.
That should drive your decisions.
Yeah.
So your challenge for error handling.
Should you choose to accept it?
Write some code that will open a file and read the contents. Allow the user to specify the file name. Which means there's a possibility that they'll type in a file name you can't locate, so you're going to need to write error handling to gracefully handle the possibility of a user entering a file name that you can't locate.
Exactly.
So now you guys can gracefully handle errors so your code doesn't crash.
Exactly.
Now what's freaking me out here, Christopher, is this is actually our last official module, but we do have a couple of things to talk about.
Yeah, we do have a couple of things to talk about. I actually, since I keep beating on that functions drum, I do want to hit that one last time. So I'm going to go back and close off one little thing. We saw a few questions about this, and since we talked an awful lot about methods or functions, it'd be worthwhile mentioning. Because one thing, just to be explicit about it, is inside of an accept statement, could you take the error and just pass it over to a function? Absolutely, 100%.
So in my error handling, I could call a function and pass it the error message I got.
Exactly.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And that would be kind of very nice to be able to centralize. So if we come back to the code that I was doing earlier, let's say that things like get names and print names, I want to be able to use that in a lot of different places. Well, what I could do is I could just take those. So all I'm doing is I'm taking code that we saw in the last module. Control-X cut.
You took it out. How am I going to be able to call it?
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Solution Explorer, a real quick right click, and I'm going to say add, right there in front of me, new item.
Okay.
I'm going to say empty Python file, and I'm going to call this helpers. That one thing that I love to do is create just a bunch of helper functions. So I just
like
call
my great formatter, date formatter that I love.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So I just simply copied and pasted that code. So it's the exact same code. Now I want to be able to call that.
Yeah, because I still want to use those functions from the other program.
And the way that we're going to do that is just by simply saying import helpers. There we go.
That just makes too much sense because we've already been using import and sys and all those great things.
We absolutely have been. Now let's go in and hit start, and you're going to notice it's going to fail on me. It's going to say get names is not defined.
Okay.
Because yes, I imported in helpers, but I still have to go one step further.
Okay.
I have to tell it that get names
is inside helpers.
of helpers.
Because, I mean, it can't go searching everything everywhere, so you have to give it a hint as to where helpers is.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. We saw that when we did that with sys.exe info.
Yep.
When we were using the datetime functions and we imported datetime, we were doing datetime dot. So we've actually, that's exactly the same as when we're using the pre-provided modules.
That's exactly it.
So you can create your own modules.
You can create your own modules just like that. That's simple.
I didn't think we'd get to creating our own modules in an introduction to programming. That's awesome.
But there it is. Awesome. And you've got one last little bit.
One little thing I want to show you. Yep. I will, but I want to show you something really cool.
Yeah.
A lot of you have been asking, what do I do when this course is over? What's my next steps? You know, some of you saying, hey, is there going to be a follow-up to this course? You know, and maybe there will be. We have talked about it.
There's been a lot of requests for that.
So
it's something we'd love
we will
to
look
see.
into it.
Yeah, you know, this is not a guarantee of anything.
No, we'll look into it.
But yeah, we've loved how popular this has been. So yeah, this has been fantastic.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to look into that. But even if that happened, it wouldn't be for a little while. Even if it did happen, it'd be in a couple of months at least.
Exactly. We have day jobs.
Meanwhile, you need to practice to get these skills down, to get more comfortable with it. I've given you little challenges at the end of each module that we have provided. Now I've got a real doozy for you.
Okay.
And I may even give you a second one. I might add it to GitHub next week.
Okay.
Sonal, thank you very much for these. An intern that I work with was kind enough to create 2 bonus challenges for you. And these are going to require you to pull everything together. They're tough.
Yep.
So the first one, and I love this one's awesome. Many adults can't understand text message abbreviations. And your challenge is to write a program that will take a text message and translate it into words that your grandparents could understand.
Yep.
So if somebody types in, so funny, LOL, ROTFL, then that would be translated to, so funny, I'm laughing out loud, rolling on the floor laughing.
Yep.
So the way this works, you can assume that there is a file that contains one column, which is your text message abbreviations, and one column, which is the translation. So it'll say LOL, laughing out loud, ROTFL, rolling on the floor laughing.
Yep.
You have to write a program that will let a user type in the text message, and you return back to them the translated full message. This is going to take a lot of work. There's nested loops in here, string manipulations. Now, the nice thing is, I have got you hints. So if you go to the GitHub, download the PowerPoint, you're going to see all kinds of hints in here.
Don't worry about the fact that Susan's just kind of bouncing through that slide, because now I'm going to show you where to go get that.
Yeah, so you have this. So when you're ready, when you've got some time, this is how you really try and put it together. And if you get stuck, you've got the solution. Go look at the solution, come back. And the nice thing is we've broken it into steps in the slides.
Yep.
And in the code solution, it actually says this is step 1. Here's the code equivalent of step 1. Here's step 2 in the slides. Here's step 2 in the code. So we'll try to help you out, and you can follow that along. And even just learning how to read that code, you'll be amazed. If you can even understand that solution, you have learned a ton in the last 2 days.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so if you're curious as to where to go get everything from here, I've got 2 little AKA MSs on here, and we'll put both of these into the chat window. But number 1, this is the shortcut that you use to get to this course. This will be updated. A lot of people have asked, when is this going to be available on demand? Typically about 2 weeks. You'll get an email about it, but that link right there will always work. That will always get you to this course. So introprog-python. The second big one is all the codes and slides. We've thrown them onto GitHub. We've talked a fair amount about GitHub, but real quick, it's a great sharing place. A lot of open source projects use it. That's why we threw our stuff onto there. There's probably a little bit of cleanup work that we could do on some of the namings, which we'll go back and do. It's one of those things, doing live demos. Sometimes you kind of forget to be consistent there. It happens. So we'll do a little bit of cleanup, but the big thing that I want to point out on that GitHub is...
And on that GitHub, you'll see a button that says download zip file.
Yep, that's exactly
So
what I was going to go
link,
for. Yep.
You follow that link, and you'll see a button on that page that says download zip file. You click that button, and it literally gives you a zip file containing all our demos, all the challenges, all the slide decks, everything we've covered in the last 2 days to help you out.
It's right down here. So if you take a look at my screen, right down there at the lower right-hand corner, you'll notice download zip. And so all that you would have to do is just click on that, hit, well, open or save. I'm just going to hit open, give it a couple of moments, and then poof, there is everything that we've done.
Including, you know, a summary of the challenges, solutions to the challenges, all kinds of great stuff.
That's absolutely it. All right.
And I think, my gosh, I think the only thing, we are done, but you're not.
Yeah, exactly. So a couple last little things.
And?
Yeah, a couple last little things. Yeah, you've got the challenges. You know where to go get all the source code. The last couple of things that I want to highlight. Number one, find us on Twitter.
Yeah, please.
Number two is down towards the bottom of the screen, you're going to notice the last poll question. That's the eval. Please take, the 2 seconds to go ahead and choose an item on there. And last but not least, Susan, I want to thank you.
It's been a pleasure, Christopher.
This has been an absolute blast.
Thanks,
it's been
everybody.
A fantastic 2 days.
You've been an awesome audience.
To everybody out there. You guys have been wonderful. It's been great doing the Q&A here, and hopefully, everything allowing, we'll see everybody back here at some point. But until then, thanks again. Fill out the poll. Find us on Twitter, and go program Python.
Have fun.
Cheers.